Sup everyone, this is Chaos Magician. Let's face it guys, Dueling Book is ugly. It's a great simulator and all, and functionally it's fantastic, but it's hideous. Well, I got bored today and I took it upon myself to recreate it in an old school Yu-Gi-Oh style that matches the overall aesthetic of the game. To do this, I took a look at various merchandise from the year 1999 and 2000, including old duel mats, rule books, starter boxes, and even an instructional VHS tape to get inspiration and a feel for the game's visual flair. Plus, I looked at the cards themselves. I started by recreating this duel field. I basically recreated an old Japanese paper duel mat that I have from the year 1999. I mean, it's not an exact recreation, but that's what I took inspiration from. I used the same font and even include the Japanese text to give it that old school feel. If I were a developer for Dueling Book, I'd probably include an option to hide this text. But I like the way it looks, so I included it. By the way, I did this for GOAT format and old school formats only, so that's why there's no Link Monster Zone and stuff like that, and that's why it says Fusion here. This is just supposed to be a recreation of what an old school or GOAT format mode would look like in Dueling Book. Also, take a look at the card backs. These actually aren't scans from the original game. I created these myself. Here. Yeah, I tried to make everything as original as possible while still feeling authentic. I suspect that Konami created their assets in Photoshop as well, albeit back in the 90s. So I attempted to recreate the card backs using similar techniques. Here's what I came up with. Like I said, I achieved this completely from scratch. So far everything you see here, nothing is scanned from the game. This is all raw from nothing. So after I created this duel mat, I created the phase buttons. As you can see, I simulated what it would look like if we were in main phase 2, for example. Then I worked on the chat window, the card information box, and what I call the player cards. Basically the area where you can see the duelist usernames, life point total, and avatars. We've got various buttons down here, such as the concede button or admit defeat, as well as the chat buttons and all that. I didn't finish making the graphics for these two. I just didn't care enough. You may notice that I forgot to include a banished card zone. I noticed after working all this and I simply didn't feel like it. It's not like it matters. This is just a mock-up after all. If I were to include it, I would have to move a few things around. I'd probably move this down a bit, move this up a bit. I might have to make the phase buttons smaller, and then I try to fit it in right here. After all that, I went ahead and I created a faux duel scene. Here's what a game in session might look like. Don't analyze this game state too much. I didn't put much thought into it, and it probably doesn't make much sense. It's just to get a feel for what a game in session looks like. Yeah, so there you have it. This is how Dueling Book would look if it matched the old school aesthetic of the game. Hey, if anyone from Dueling Book is watching this, hit me up. I'll give you all these assets for free if you can make your simulator look like this. Wouldn't it be cool if this were like a premium skin or something? I'd love to play some GO format duels in a simulator that looks like this. It really sucks you into the game's world. Don't ask me why I did this. I was just bored and I like making stuff in Photoshop. And of course, I love the look of old school Yu-Gi-Oh products. Let me know what you think and subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh content. We've got some great and unique stuff coming up, as well as more history videos. Until next time.